Welcome to Bullets Nation, the podcast by Bullets fans for Bullets fans. I'm your host, Tracy Malone, a Bullets member since we came back into the league 10 years ago. In sporting teams, players change, coaches change, and staff move on. We don't, Bullets fans, we're the constant. We've been here since the early days and we'll still be here when the next banner goes up. This is our space to talk about our team at length. No 30-second hot takes. We're here for real hoops chat. We love this club. We argue, we cheer, we ride every run, and we carry every loss. So settle in and suit up. If you're Bullets family, you're at home here. This is Bullets Nation. Let's tip off today by welcoming back my co-hosts, Scott Husband and Cameron Pawluck.
Hello there. It's good to be back. Just a quick thank you to everyone who wished me a speedy recovery. I can confirm that all is going well.
Hi, everyone. Thanks to Mort for being guest co-host last week.
Well done.
As Tracy said, I was moonlighting, checking out another sport. I went to the Australian Baseball League Brisbane Bandits home game, something different. And the Bandits are also having a bit of a rough trot. I can report, though, they have a real coach. Their ground announcer, though, doesn't quite hold a candle to Adam or Johnny for that matter. So it's not quite the same as hoops, shall we say.
But a fun night out?
It's definitely a fun night out.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing that we understand in our Bullets group chat with everyone who loves so much sport and goes to so much sport is Brisbane wants good sport.
Yeah.
There will be
and a competitive team in that sport.
Yes.
100% be a crowd for any good night out, good sport that there is. So you can see why we're getting a few things wrong with our memberships not going up this year. All right, so let's look at our week in socials. Thanks everyone for engaging. Monday Madness and Friday Fan Debate are going off and they're so much fun. And because I scheduled them for a month in advance, so I don't even know what's coming up. So I see them and I'm like, oh, that was a great question. Well done, me. So YouTube, great engagement, lots of support in there for Johnny, lots of support for game day experience and how well we're going. Needing the turnover, we needing a real GM in our organisation. Monday Madness question was, name the one game in the past 10 seasons that still lives rent-free in your head, good or bad. Now, two stood out massively. I know what mine is. Mine was that game in 2020 where we had to win by 30 plus.
Yeah.
And we played Cairns at home. So there were loads of people who thought that one was amazing. The noise that night was ridiculous. The other one was Bateman dropping 51. So they were the two main ones. And we did have another one over on Instagram. Brisbane Sports is a page, and they said the Travis Trice spin move and assist. Remember when he did that little spin and he was down the ground? I think that's the most viral NBL video in the last 10 years was probably that one. It was amazing. So which one lives rent-free in your heads, guys?
Yeah, that Cairns game, obviously, first and foremost, is probably the biggest one. The other one that stands out for me was one of our games against Sydney Kings at Nissan Arena, and it was Magnay's big game against Bogut, and he went absolutely off. Like, he had blocks, he absolutely decimated Bogut. I think that was Bogut's last season, and Bogut just couldn't keep in front of him. That one I always remember as well. It was kind of like Magnay's big, massive moment, and that kind of catapulted him to that next level.
Nice. And then we did the dirty on him.
Yep.
Yours, Scott? What was yours?
Oh, honestly, toss a coin between that Cairns game, I was at that game, and Bateman's 51.
Yeah, I think they're both amazing because it was team, like the team one against Cairns. That's why I loved it more. I loved the 51 for Bateman, but that was more of an individual than a big one. And during the week, hopefully you've all seen the Steve Woodbury interview that dropped. That all happened very quickly and it was so much fun to do. So stay tuned for more of that, hopefully, when I get the time and bandwidth to do that kind of thing. But our Friday fan debate was, what's the one New Year's resolution the Brisbane Bullets absolutely must commit to if they want to turn this organisation around? You should all know mine by now. Danny Breen, give a 75% membership discount to all current members who stay on board for next season as a form of compensation. I don't hate that. I do not hate that.
Let him speak.
Yeah. And Murray said, if the owners keep doing what they've been doing, there might not be any members to give discounts to. That's a thought. And there were a few of them and us. I'm going to say us because I'm in this club 100%. Proper structure. We need a GM in Australia. Basketball in the NBL has a proper overseas and local contacts, and let them run the show from here. We're so tired of this American owner having way too much say, way too many hands on this club and this team without a proven track record of being able to rebuild a club. Ben, similar thing, improving basketball operations and performance, proper GM of basketball from Dave. Belinda wants Darryl McDonald as head coach, talking about Queensland basketball. Liam Fletcher, it's got to start at the top. What's has to go? Craig Ritchie, full independent review of everyone at the club, from head office to players to back of house. There's systemic issues within the club. Gee, I love that idea, but who's going to say we need that? Then when the very top has got the hands in the pie. And Mort, of course, 4 vitally important requirements, 1, 2, 3, and 4, we're all the same. Experienced GM of basketball.
Yep.
Nicole Penman wants players. She wants players that are going to turn up and play, not play as lazy and clumsy as they do. Pretty much it. She wants consistency of colour of the fan shirts, but that's a lower problem. We've got much bigger problems than that, I think. So Friday fan debate, the one thing I believe that has to change is, and you would think anyone out there would think, oh, it's got to be coaching. Of course, it's not yet. The thing that has to change is the GM of basketball, and we're going to go through it. So the run sheet this week and the way we're running through this podcast is as the week happened, because as we know, at the moment, there's a lot that's happening every day. So as I was writing the run sheet and I was like, oh, I've said that, and now something massive has happened here to back that up. Yeah. And then what I watched during the week. So we're going to go through as the week happened. The one thing I wanted to touch on right now with game day, a little thing, was about the no replays on the Jumbotron. So I have been told that the people in the stadium who sit on the rows of desks there and are doing all the techie things, they have everything that the NBL has. So they have everything that the TV has. So there isn't an actual reason as to why they're not showing it. And so I've tried to put in a word and say, can we please get replays? And we did get the replay on our recent game of the head clashing.
Yes,
and
we
you
did.
saw what that did in the crowd. Everyone went, oh, because I don't think there was a coach's challenge in that game. I'm hoping they're listening to us on that one and that will actually change.
Yeah.
So the first thing that happened in our week this week was we had a basketball game and we played against Sydney Kings down in Sydney on Tuesday. So their crowd was 10,716 people. The final score was 95 to the Kings, 70 to the Bullets. In our Bullets Nation group chat, we put in our predictions for this game, as always, for away games. The shout out this game goes to Mitchell, who first thought Sydney would win by 18 points. Then he saw the refs and he said, no, change that. My prediction is now Sydney by 28. So unfortunately, nice work, Mitchell. You were spot on with that one. The first thing that comes to mind in this game is our defense was terrible.
Yeah.
While we're playing with passion, we're not stopping great teams from scoring 50 and a half of a basketball game. Yep. And so in one half, we scored 30 points. 30 points in a half of basketball. I want to take you through quarter by quarter. I've started doing quarter by quarter scoring because it tells a very big story.
Yep.
So first quarter, they were 24, we were 15. Second quarter, they scored 27 to our 15. Third quarter, they scored 25 to our 19. And the fourth quarter, they scored 18 to our 21. So we're able to come home, but we're just chasing so hard that the other team gives up.
Yeah. And that fourth quarter is basically junk minutes for the team in the lead, and they're putting bench players on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And they don't even have to win. They just need to hold the lead enough so our percentage stays up enough. So let's give these guys some time. 15 points in a quarter. Per quarter in that half. They destroyed us in transition. Our transition defense is non-existent. They stopped Tyrell with their bigs. He only had 2 shot attempts by the end of the third quarter.
Yeah. Yeah. Teams are
They
just
had his number.
learning. Yeah, they did. They're just learning how to double team him, and he just doesn't know, or doesn't appear to know how to deal with that when it happens at the moment. And
We can say very clearly that it's not that he appears to not know. He doesn't.
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
It's, yeah. Because
It's
if he
frustrating.
knew, he
Yeah.
would be doing it, surely.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that DMAC put Toey out there in the 4 position, but unfortunately it wasn't enough. So I liked what DMAC was trying to do. Unfortunately, it just wasn't working.
Yeah.
That is his most suited position when you consider basically his height and his playing style. Unfortunately, he ends up at the 5. He ends up being a backup 5 or backup for the backup 5 because the other guys either get in foul trouble, they're not in full fitness or health. That's how we've had to use him, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yep. In this game, I was really looking at our imports and I'm just not happy with our selection. We were told Terry Taylor is like for Casey Prather, and I can't see it. I cannot see it. I was hoping to see it. He's solid enough, but he's a bench import, not a starting 5 import. JFL is not taking over games like we need our import guards to do. We need a specific type of import in this club, and we have got imports that are more of role players further down the bench than what we actually need. In this game against Sydney, JFL had 4 points, 2 from 11 in the field. He shot at 18%, 0 from 4 at the 3-point line. He had 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 4 turnovers. And
yeah,
was
that assist to turnover rate. If Jalen Adams had that,
good. Yes.
would be unimpressed. And his shot selection, that wasn't good at all.
He was a minus 30.
To be desired.
Yeah. Minus 30 in the plus minus. Kind of says it all. Terry was 2 points, 1 from 11 in the field, shooting at 9%, 0 from 4 at the 3-point line, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 turnover, and a minus 18 for the game.
Yeah, Terry's definitely not that same type of scorer that Prather was. I don't think he's got quite that same style of play the way Prather's able to get his shots. I do think he is that little bit better defensively, but we also need that scoring punch that we've lost with Prather.
Very much.
I'd like to see him with 18 every game, which I think he's capable of, but he just hasn't adjusted to the league as quickly as what we've needed. It's just taking him too long. And I also don't think it helps in our offense. It's not great. It's pretty clunky at best.
Yeah. So in our teams, as we're lacking scorers so desperately, our imports need to be scoring 20 points each every single game. That's what we need. It's just that simple. If we don't have
where we're at,
nothing's going to change.
Yeah. And for JFL, I think it's a bit of a shame because he is known as being an elite scorer. And I just don't know if it's because we're asking him to do too much of the ball carrying and creating for others, that's not his game. And I know DMAC has said this in his press conferences as well. He did play a bit of point guard in the G League, but that's a different game here. It's so much more spaced out. And he was looking to create his own shot there more than creating for others.
Yeah, facilitate.
We're not playing him in his role. So hopefully we get that other import in that can help.
We know enough about him to know that he's a 2-3. He can be a backup ball handler.
Yeah.
But Terry's been serviceable. Certainly at the defensive end, he brings hustle, he crashes the boards. But really, we need more than that. We need scoring productivity. And he's not the offensive threat against quality opposition that we need, realistically.
Yeah, absolutely. What we needed was the same stats that he got in the G League, and we're not getting anywhere close to that. And we need Maldonado on deck. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
And people keep saying that's a great piece, but this is where it's going to get really interesting when he does come in. How much change is he going to actually make, really?
Not huge, I would say. Just on the G League, we're seeing more and more with various recruits, and particularly these two, JFL and Taylor, is that the translation, it's quite a different type of competition. Like coming to a FIBA league, there's an adjustment for them. But with Maldonado, my raspberry of the week goes to the immigration department for not being open to process any visa applications. So we have to go games without a new signing.
Very timely, wasn't it? Yeah,
thumbs
we can't
down to
blame
them.
Yeah, Bullets got a lot of problems, but that one is one that they don't have control of.
Yeah.
So it would be so incredibly helpful from what you're saying about that it's not translating from G League into the NBL. So wouldn't it be amazing to have a GM of basketball or a scout? So that means our scouts are getting it wrong.
Yep.
And the scout at the moment is one of the 4 GM of basketballs who are doing that
Someone who
illusionary role.
performs that function.
Yeah, that's
one of
thank
those.
you. Verbatim. Yeah. So they're getting it wrong. And so at every level, we're getting so much wrong. And then DMAC is having the pressure now of trying to work with what he's got. And it's really interesting, but we'll get through that. We really need someone to take the pressure off Nordo. I'm not okay with how much Nordo's playing. I want him as a protected species. He is a veteran. I do not want him injured again. I need him in this club for a long time yet. I need to get in his ear and get him studying an MBA or something like that so he can move his way up through the ranks in the organisation and bring his kind of personality through this club. I don't like how many minutes he's playing. It's not that he can't handle it, but I just don't like how he's being utilised at the moment. And when you look at who he's having to play against, it's just not like for like. We're asking him to do too much. And he'll do it.
Like a quick one on Nordo. What are minutes do you think that are optimal? Do you think 20 minutes for him?
Yep.
Yeah.
He needs to be the bench guy. We need
Run the
and
second
maybe
unit.
Maldonado. Yeah, that's it. Run the second unit and give the point guard a rest. So when our point guard comes off, the standard doesn't drop.
Yep.
It stays up there. And if we need something different and everything's a bit the same and the coach is like, what can I do? It's throw Nordo out there for 5 minutes and just let him have at it because he is different. He will change it. He will see what needs to happen. Yeah. He's already thinking on the sidelines of what needs to happen. I don't like him as our starting point guard at all. I think it's too much.
Not his best usage.
No.
Looking at the other clubs, look at the Kings. Like who's someone similar? I don't know if it's a fair comparison, but someone like Sean Bruce, he's a local, he's a veteran. He does some playmaking. What sort of minutes does he have? It's not that many.
Yeah. Look, 15.
Yeah.
15 minutes of just that high impact.
Quality over quantity when you use it like
exactly.
someone.
That's
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, because you want your main point guard out there and maybe Maldonado. You know, what I'm hoping is if we can get a little diamond in the rough and go, oh my God, we've got one import right. Can we roll with this now? Is this the missing piece we've been looking for? And can we build around this next season? Because we need massive changes in our roster next season, in my opinion, after talking to Steve Woodbury especially. Geez, he made me see some things differently. Suarez in this back to the Sydney game. Suarez won the big man game, making Ty play a high defense. He's a serious 3-point threat. And defensively, when I looked at it, Ty was playing from the free throw line and above defensively, and it was just too open. Sydney's just got too many bigs that are big, and we cannot match them. And they absolutely walked all over us. I was like, there's no way we can actually win this game. It left the paint way too open.
Yeah, I've been saying for a while now that Ty's always going to struggle against the bigs that can shoot the three. He's either up high, like he was in this game, or he drops too low on defense, which then leaves them open to shoot the three. He's not quite quick enough that if they then put the ball on the floor, they can usually blow by him. And it would be okay if our help team defense was good, but it's not.
And I think that's more to the point. So to my point, it's not that Ty being up there is a problem. He's where he needs to be. It's that our defense as a team is terrible.
Help. Yeah.
Morton and I talked about the elastic band defense. I see it from every team in the league other than 2 or 3 teams. And those 2 or 3 teams are at the bottom.
Yeah.
Nobody's shifting into the right positions at the right time. This is basic stuff, man. It is basic stuff of how to shift in a defensive standpoint. And so Ty should be able to stand at the free throw line, and there should be somebody behind him, because there's so many passes off the ball that they should be lower in the key. Somebody should be having their hand in that paint, and their voice should be very loud.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. And so we're not doing it. And they know that. We're still the easiest scout in the league. The only positive I had to say, and they said this the other night in the broadcast, everyone learns from adversity more than ease. In my own life, when life is going easy and everything's going great, I'm not learning much. But my God, when things get hard and I do the hard things, I really learn from it. So for the Bullets players, you will come out of this better somehow. And it may not be with the Bullets. You might do what most of the other Bullets have done and gone and shine somewhere else under a better organisation and coach. But this will pay off for you somehow. Don't let it bury you. You will get better somewhere out of this. On that game, the shining light was Sam McDaniel. 18 points, 2 rebounds, 4 assists, and 1 turnover. So I was really happy with that. I've been waiting for him to show up a bit more.
Yeah, with so many people down, we just need to see Smack being more aggressive with his offense. We know he has that in his bag, especially that mid-range jumper of his. So when we're struggling to score, I just think we need to run something to get him a decent look from that mid-range.
Yeah, that mid-range it's one of his, like in NBL 1, it's like shelling peas for him, but at NBL, he's more closely guarded. And the last few games, it seems like he's just taken a bit of time to find rhythm. So he's, not having as many games under his belt. It's making it a bit more hard work for him. Yeah. I do wonder if it would help for him, if starting would help. Does DMAC think he provides more defensive starch to the second unit? Is that why he's coming off the bench? Does DMAC feel that he's not ready to start yet, or it's just not the most appropriate thing in the current setup?
Yeah, I think it's his plantar fasciitis. I think he's still managing that plantar fasciitis. So he has an issue in his foot, and if he plays too long or does too much explosive stuff, then it's going to flare up again and he'll be out for another week or 2.
So it's still being managed.
Yep, I think they're managing bodies there, which is so frustrating for us all. Obviously, in this game, Tyrell didn't see enough of the ball. In his 21 minutes, he had 5 shots from the field. In 21 minutes, he had 5 shots from the field and 1 from the 3-point line. He had 6 shots in a game from our local focal point player. It's just not good enough. 12 points, 7 rebounds, 3 turnovers. It's terrible. So that was that game. Whew. And then we went to overtime. So we're going as the week happened. Okay. On overtime during the week, they spoke about giving DMAC that head coaching job in our group chat. There were some that agreed, and there were many of us who said, hang on a minute, let's just see what happens next. We're riding this high of 2 half-decent games. Melbourne United were on a run of losses, and they had 2 key players out. A great team would have beaten them while they were down. So we didn't beat them. We did well, but we didn't actually beat them. We had the Sydney game coming up, and we were going to see what they were really made of. I saw this as a litmus test before that was going. I was like, let's not get too excited here. And while I do believe we need a lot of change in our club, anyone who's listened to more than one episode of this podcast, go back and have a listen. We need a lot of change in our club from the top to bottom. I actually don't believe it would be a good time to sign a new coach before the end of the season. And this was before the presser. So the game happened. I was listening to overtime because it had come out just before the game had started, and I didn't realise. So I watched the game, then I watched overtime, then I watched the presser, and that's how it happened. So as I was watching the game, I thought the worst thing they could do is sign a new coach. Yep. Let this run. Let him and the players, let DMAC and the players feel some sense of stability for the rest of the season, but especially for DMAC to get as much as he can out of the process without having to worry about somebody coming after him, without the pressure from the top. Like every game is it coming now? Is it not coming now? Is the call coming now? Or what are they doing? What are they not doing? Let him do the job and then decide. And so that's what I'd written in the show notes. And then I went and watched the presser. And D-Mac came out and he said it was a tough night in the office. We did everything we said we were not going to do. So they literally went against the game plan. So what does he do as a coach in this? We couldn't handle their pressure, which we've been saying for a long time. Javon is great, but he's not a point guard.
No.
He talked about Tyrell getting doubled when we got the ball inside. Everyone stood around the perimeter. No one moved towards the basket for a handoff. He showed us everything that went wrong in that game, and he did not hold back. Dukas hurt his toe, so he couldn't play the rest of the game. Tane is out until the 10th. We learnt that, I don't know, some time ago, and when he was up in the members bar, he rolled his ankle on Tyrell's foot. So he's out until the 10th of January. He's not coming back for a while. D-Mac said, we didn't get on the rim and settled for jump shots. No one was attacking the rim. They thought Maldonado would play. They'd trained with him. They were assuming that he was going to play, and the visa clearance issues stopped him. D-Mac called out his team to take some accountability. He wants them to take charge out on the floor, which is what I've been asking for all season as well. And he's not happy with his players. This goes back to what Mort was telling us about last episode when Brian Gorgian asked what is the one thing to focus on. For any new coach going in, what's the most important thing to focus on? And he said recruitment. That's it. Just you've got to recruit the right players. We don't need players with championship experience as much as we need players who are willing to take control of their own part in each game. And after speaking to Steve Woodbury, that goes even deeper. We need athletes with great work ethic, and that's it. And I don't believe we have that now. I do wonder if they were able to execute what D-Mac was asking, then what would have happened? And if D-Mac was head coach, who would he recruit and who would he release from this team?
Those words, work ethic, were a big takeaway from listening to your chat with Steve Woodbury. I heard them and they jumped out at me. And this is not the first time D-Mac has been interim filling in after one other coach. He was at the Melbourne Tigers when Chris Anstey departed.
Yeah.
So he's done this before, but I feel like he's not being fairly evaluated or judged, and because of the current circumstances. But I agree with the other folks in the chat group that are saying, let's just give this some time. Let's see how this goes. So it needs time.
Yep. So back to the press conference, he was then asked about what the Bullets were looking for in a coach. And D-Mac didn't hold back. This was the moment that every Bullets supporter and fan will remember. I think it was Mitchell who put it into the group chat and went, oh my God, things are getting real. Let's go. He said, they don't need a coach. I'm right here. What they need is stability. We're bringing coaches in from the States. Stop doing that. It hasn't worked. What we are doing is just overhauling people. You've got a coach. I'm right here. I know what it takes to win in this league. I've won in this league, and as a player and as an assistant coach. If you feel the need to have to go and get somebody, okay, understandable. The club needs stability. It's the one thing we haven't had any continuity over and over.
Yeah, so I'm going to play a bit of devil's advocate here with the D-Mac situation. So as a player and assistant coach, absolutely he's won it at this level. But as a head coach, no, he hasn't. He is a head coach in the NBL 1 North. And I'm going to say his record there really isn't all that flattering. He's coach of the Northside Wizards, where he is 11 wins and 20 losses. In 2024, they finished 11th, and in 2025, they finished 9th. So I'm all for him finishing out this season as interim head coach, and maybe when they eventually do bring someone new in as head coach, they keep him on as assistant. I don't mind that, even though I know at the start of the season I was like, clean out. But I'm really leaning against going towards no as a full-time head coach next season.
Yeah, just a devil's advocate to your devil's advocate, Cam. I've also heard the counter argument to it's not a fair comparison, a stint as an NBL 1 North coach. What do we even know about his influence on that Wizards roster?
Yeah,
also.
that's fair.
So, yeah, that's a thing that a lot of folks have pointed to, but
yeah,
Yeah, and their questions.
What do
Wouldn't
we
it be
know?
great to have all of those answers? I
Yeah,
want all
more
the
questions.
answers before I make a decision.
Yeah.
And I want to really get into that in a sec, but we'll get through the rest of this press conference first. He was asked, has he spoken to Jason Levian? He said, no, I've been trying to get on a call with him. And he shrugged his shoulders. Now you got me started, or don't get me started, or something like that. So that was really clear. They put DMAC into the job and didn't even consider giving him an opportunity to interview for the head coach role.
Yeah. It's just.
Back when they put Vandy in, they let him interview for the head coach role. And this time they've put an interim in, but at no point did they say you can now interview for the head coach role. And he has been trying to talk to the management. Oh, man, that makes me mad. And it shows just the massive disconnect from this organisation and where we need to clean out. That's why the coaching position, I don't even care who's got it at the moment or who's going to have it at the moment, because it is not our biggest problem. It's a tough situation. Back to what DMAC said. I asked Mal the other day. I called him and asked him. So nobody is calling DMAC and telling him what is going on in this process. So the disconnect between management and ownership and the head coach and the players is massive. And again, we have no GM of basketball, apparently. I called him and asked him what's going on. And he said there's a contract on the table for a guy in the States. Can we just pause here a second and say that the Bullets came out in the media? So the media reported the Bullets are looking at an American coach. They spoke to Rob Beveridge. He said he didn't want it. And we heard, and I heard the same intel that came out in the media, that they said, stop looking in Australia. We want to sign an American coach. And that came from ownership, Jason Levian. They then came out to the NBL media, the Bullets did, and said, no, that is not true. We are not looking for an American coach. And they told the NBL that was not true. Not true. All the
that
time.
was Peter Hooley on Overtime.
Yep.
Yep.
All the time. Yeah, they had a contract on the table with an American coach. Yeah. Can you see why we have no trust?
Yeah. And now it's also been reported by Code Sports that they're reporting that there's no contract and that they're still out there looking. So which is it? Someone's either getting their wires crossed or someone's telling porcupines.
And we know what that is. The Bullets are just throw whatever it is out in the media that suits them at any one time, and that is because we have no leadership. We have management, but no leadership. Those words came from somebody else, but I edited them out of a previous podcast because I thought, I won't let them put that much heat on that person. But that is,
Yeah.
That is what we're seeing. All right. DMAC then went on to say, we're still in the press conference, if he takes it, he won't come out now. It won't be until next year. I'll finish the year. I took that as season, not year.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Season.
I was very confused. I'm like, DMAC, the year ends in 2 days. What's going on here, mate? I'm so confused right now. So I took that as season.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Mal told DMAC, just continue to do what you are doing and things may change. I know they are trying to get somebody because we've lost sponsors. This is DMAC still. We've lost members, we've lost fans, and maybe they think big names can come in and change things. Okay, if that's what you think, but you've got somebody already in the seat, I can get it done. If you give me the opportunity and you give me what I want, and he said that very forcefully, and don't make decisions, you give me what I want and I will win in this league. I know I can. I've done it. Olgun then asked, if they do decide to bring in a head coach, will you be okay coaching under him? And DMAC said, I love coaching, but the thing is, would they want me? If you want me on your side, I love being an assistant coach. I love the game of basketball too much to give it up. If you want me, great. If not, I'll find somewhere else.
What I really like about DMAC is just how forthright and authentic he's been in these presses and interviews. It's just so refreshing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where everything changed for me, because I was like, no, DMAC can't be the head coach as such, and I don't care who the assistant coaches are. I need the head coach there. But after this, he is giving more fight to us in one press conference than anyone in this Bullets organisation has given us in 10 years. So I'm like, oh, maybe that's where the fight comes from. If he's going to sit there and he's going to fight that hard and he's going to put his stamp on it and he's going to call out the ownership and he's going to call out management and he's going to call out everyone and he's going to do it his way, I actually think that's what we need. More than, I don't want to say it, but more than maybe the Trevor Gleesons. I still want Trevor Gleeson. But what I would really like, if I could wave my magic wand and have whatever it is that I want them to say, all right, let's get Trevor Gleeson and DMAC in a room together. Let's let them talk it out and let's let them see what their vision is. Their vision the same? I think we almost need like a panel to sit down. And this is where a CEO and a GM of basketball could be in the room together and go, let's talk this out and where do we see this future and this vision? Because after what DMAC has done, I actually feel like he needs to be a part of it, and to rip him out after he's shown that much passion and that much grit and that much determination, to pull him out now would be such a silly move for a club in dire straits. He's the only one standing up in the midst of all of this. But I don't want to say no to a Trevor Gleeson. I still want them to pay the money for that. But I want them in the room. And if DMAC says, I want to do this in preseason, I want to see the players do this, let me run the point guard spot. I'll be your assistant, but let me do this and let me do that and see if we can get some actual cohesion here. Let's see if we can get something amazing happening. That would be my wish list.
Yeah.
Sounds good to me.
Sounds pretty good.
Who would pass up an opportunity to have Trevor Gleeson?
I can't let it go, but we'll get to that later where they have let it go. And I really don't think, I think now management and ownership are being reactive on all the things that the fans are saying, because once again, which we will get to, they don't have the right people in those jobs to be able to make a solid decision to move forward with the club. I think they're starting to be reactive now because the contract was on the table. Now the contract is off the table. And so now what are we doing? Are we looking at DMAC, but then are we not looking at DMAC? We need to see what everyone's saying before we make a choice. Man, oh man, there is somebody that I basketball crushed on during the week that I will get to in a minute. Back to the press conference in the Sydney game. DMAC was asked about Sydney's defence. Is it the best in the league? He said one of them, yes. They are so good at pressure. They have athletes in every position. This was before I'd spoken to Steve Woodbury. Athletes in every position. I was under the false belief previously that everyone playing in the NBL was an athlete. If people are playing at this level, they're obvious athletes. And in the last month, that has changed 100%. I do not believe that at all anymore. It's interesting because what they said on the Reverse Pivot podcast, I spoke about this last episode, they had a real go at the strength and conditioning of the Bullets and many of the players. For professional basketballers, they need to be a lot better.
So I believe at the end of last season, there were rumours that part of the reason for letting Shula go was because he was pushing our players way too much, overworking them and so forth. The result of that was the injuries that we were having. He was just pushing them hard at training. I don't know if everyone remembers, but they were doing boxing sessions and stuff with each other and stuff on the beach. It was something that he had brought up from Melbourne. So he was really pushing them, trying to get them to be super fit, but it sounded like he went overboard with it.
Yeah, I would like to see that in the preseason.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone I know who's had a breakout season in the NBL and had a massive jump, they've done a wild off season. Yeah. And so the result, what we found was the result of Professor Stephen Bird's assessment of the club and why they had so many injuries was they were overuse injuries. And so this year they're saying we're not having overuse injuries, we're just having a lot of injuries. So it does really beg the question, because DMAC has absolutely called out that our preseason was nowhere near good enough. And so they really need to be hitting the season firing, and they didn't. If those players, our current roster, was doing boxing and beach sessions, etc., in the preseason, you would think that they would be a lot more athletic than they were now, because there are many who fall below the line on what professional athletes should be. And if anyone is sitting out there listening going, oh, listen to you three, if you are comparing yourself to a 50-year-old woman for your fitness level, you got problems. And when I was your age, I would have taken on all of you. So listening to D-Mac's assessment of the players, he was calling out his players as not being fit enough. He's done that since he took over that job. They are absolutely not fit enough, nowhere near fit enough. They're not defensively. We cannot play full court press. We just can't. We don't have the bodies and we are not fit enough. And he has said it in every press conference so far. So listening to D-Mac's assessment of the players, the Reverse Pivot podcast, and my conversation with Steve Woodbury during the week, I'd say they all agree that we've failed on strength and conditioning this season. And this is an area that needs massive upgrade in the off season.
Yeah. So it seems like we've gone from one extreme to the other. We were doing too much under Schuler, and now we're not doing enough.
Yeah. And this is where we need more information, because we don't know if the season the head coach is saying we can't overwork them, or if it's the strength and conditioning team saying we can't overwork them. But if we look at all the areas that were upgraded in this season, that entire medical section, sports psychologist, nutrition, we need to do yet another end of year review. I'm not knocking any of their credentials. They're very excellently credentialed. What I'm knocking is this overall club plan. It has not worked, and we are nowhere close to the athleticism of other teams. This is where it might be prudent to talk about. In last night's game, we were watching Sydney versus Adelaide down in Adelaide. And in the group chat, I said, take our entire roster and put it beside the roster of Sydney and the roster of Adelaide. Do we have a single like-for-like player? And the answer was no. And there was a maybe Tyrell, maybe. But
Maybe
the bigs
Smack.
in those...
Maybe Smack at
but
full
he's...
fitness.
That's right, at full fitness. But we don't
Fit and
have
healthy.
it.
Yeah, not at
And
the
there
moment.
is no way our current roster matches in any way to the top two teams in the league. And that is what has to change if we are going to move up this ladder at all. In the Sydney game, it was actually reported by somebody sitting behind the team down in Sydney that they all had terrible body language. They came off the court whinging, and once again, D-Mac had to spend his time getting their mind positive, getting their mindset back into the game instead of coaching. And he said our two assistants looked lost at best. And I hope there can be a clear and honest review at the end of the season, and it really should be done with a GM of basketball at the head of it. On Thursday night before the Perth game, which we're going to talk about in a little while because we've got more stuff to say, and the people I was sitting next to actually made the comment, and I hadn't said anything to them, and they said, look at the Perth players. They're all fit and strong and like serious athletes, and look at our team. And they said, we're going to lose this game. And I was like, that's really interesting that you say that. So it's in the air at the moment. People are starting to notice. Okay, back to this press conference. For once, I love the media and their questions. They put D-Mac in the position to show his expertise and knowledge. So often in these press conferences, I think you're not asking the right questions, but D-Mac is showing the lack of expertise and knowledge within our club and within the higher-ups. When he was asked who the best team is right now, he said Sydney. They are fit. They have all of the pieces to win a championship. Kendrick Davis, MVP candidate. Cooks is always excellent, and their defense is relentless. You throw Bull Qual on someone, then he rests, and you get Delhi, and then you get Galloway. They are relentless, and they are fit.
Yep.
Our guys are not fit. I tell the club all the time, this is D-Mac, they are not fit. We are not physically fit. We are all not physically fit. So he's saying there's not a single person on his team that is physically fit. We can go out there and run suicides, but there's a physicality to those games that we don't have, and teams take advantage of that. You look at Sydney, their physicality, they get after it. They can do that on a consistent basis. They are going to be really hard to beat. So it's going to come up time and again.
Yeah.
He's just calling it as he sees it.
From the inside. Okay, so I've spoken on a previous episode about ESPN and they did a panel and I really loved it. And they did their second NBL panel. And this is where my basketball crush began. And they had Olgun and Derek and Jason Kadee, and they were joined by Chris Pongrass, the former CEO of Sydney. Oh my God. I just went, just whenever you're speaking, I will sit back and listen, which doesn't happen often. They like Bullets, they start speaking, I start switching off. Chris Pongrass started speaking. I was like, oh my God, this man knows his stuff. They spoke about trades and how they actually put in a proposal with other GMs from other teams. So a few of the GMs got together and put in a proposal to look at trades. And it was a really interesting conversation from start to finish. I loved every minute of it. I felt like the adults were speaking. It was great. Go and have a listen to what a real leader sounds like, who grew Sydney Kings and Sydney Flames franchises under his tenure, and come and tell me how having a CEO who is a basketball expert won't make a difference to our club.
Yeah, he's done great things there.
Yeah.
And
Really good things.
I watched that episode last night and can confirm it was a great watch and very interesting and in depth.
Yeah. Yeah. And the adults are speaking. I was like, these people know their stuff.
Yeah.
I found the whole thing really interesting. They had a go at a lot of people actually when they spoke about only a couple of teams in the NBL know how to put a roster together. And it made me smile. And after this season, I have to agree.
Those two teams, would that be Melbourne and Sydney, or is Adelaide, Southeast Melbourne?
Couple of teams.
included
I
in
think Adelaide would, I think they would be Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne. That's it. SEM, they're still missing a couple of pieces. They might get it together. But yeah, Adelaide, Sydney, Melbourne, because you look at the
Yep.
consistency over time. And Adelaide's only just coming into the picture now. So consistently put great teams together, it's Sydney and Melbourne. That's it. They're always
Yeah.
up there. And used to be Perth, but they were obviously carried by Bryce Cotton so much. And now we're looking at that and
I
he's
mean, that's
taking that.
basically the current top four.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a reason why they're
instructive.
up there. Yeah. They have the experts that are good enough to put those things together and smart enough to put those things together, and they're willing to pay the money to do it.
Yeah.
Because Adelaide's been one of the biggest spenders in the last 6 years when
Yes.
we did that review of spends, and they're only just hitting the top now. So you need both. You need the money, but you need the people who know how to put a team together. What was interesting, I started thinking now, look at the imports who have been reported that we spoke to and didn't get. So Delhi's not an import, but he's a marquee and a massive piece, and we didn't get
Imports
him.
or marquees, both.
Yeah. Yeah. We lost Duke Jr. because we were in conversation with him. Ian Clark, we're in conversation with him. So we're showing consistently that we're not going to be able to pull in that talent because we don't have a front office that can match these teams.
Just on Clark, I read somewhere that he was only ever interested in playing like the second half of the season, like he's been playing in Puerto Rico. So maybe that
Yep.
was not necessarily just Brisbane, but I think other clubs are interested in him as well. And he's, oh, I'm available from this time onwards, apparently, is what he's made known through his management.
Absolutely. And his reason was very clear. I'm coming for another championship. I'm not interested in just going to a team. So there was no way that he was ever going to even consider looking at the Bullets. Yeah. Because he's going to make his coin in Puerto Rico. And then he said, then I'll come back and get you a championship. But I'm only talking to championship teams. So well done for Southeast Melbourne. Let's look at NBL Marketplace now. Happened during the week as well. They looked at free agents. They spoke at length about the Bullets. I nearly missed this one because I was like, oh, free agents. I don't really need to listen to that. But oh my goodness, is it worth listening to?
So
They spoke at length about the Bullets head coaching position. Jack Heverin said he feels like this is a pivotal moment for this organisation as they've got a number of things wrong under this current ownership model. So he called out the owner straight away. If you're really serious about wanting to be something other than the bottom three team, they have got to pay whatever it takes to get the right person. Eric then jumped in, which is where it just got better and better. I'm like, see, for those people watching this podcast thinking we don't know what we're talking about and we're just being negative, there are people way higher up in the NBL now saying exactly the same thing we've been saying. Derek then said, I think it goes even deeper than that. I believe they need a head of basketball operations or head of player personnel. He's talking about GM that is truly tapped into not only global basketball, but how global basketball players interact and fit into the NBL, which is go back to G League does not translate to NBL.
Yeah.
Then once again, you have a head of basketball, then you can start getting that coaching situation in order. But again, it's going to require big budget on both of those positions because it's the only way they can catch up. I agree.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, there's a Code Sports article that's either come out just yesterday or the day before about the cost of coaches in the Asia leagues.
Oh, yeah,
especially
the $1 million.
Japan, the $1 million. And
the
so
budget of the Japanese teams.
They're getting quite high, like
Chinese teams as well.
Yeah, 22 million a season or something that they're spending. And these coaches are on multi-million-dollar contracts or $1 million contracts at least. And I think it was mentioned in that by someone that why aren't we paying coaches $1 million contracts? We're willing to pay for the players in that regard. So why aren't we shelling out for the coaches as well, considering how important they actually are to the teams?
amount of work that goes into that job as a head coach versus a player. Head coach does 10 times more than every player does.
Absolutely.
The fact that they're not on a big wicket is disgusting.
Yeah.
Okay, let's continue because it gets better and better. In looking at the measure of success, when you look at the ladder, so this is still back to NBL now, when you look at the ladder, you have to look at the front office. When you look at Brisbane's front office, this is Derek, how does it measure against other front offices? You have to say that it is rightfully in the bottom two, and that can't be the case. This is Australia's third largest city. It is a huge market with a basketball-loving region. And right now, Hools, you said that they are not doing service to the fans, even the aspirations of the youth. That team should be something that is the pinnacle of basketball. So on this note, my son goes to a school that has a very successful basketball program. Both teams, girls and boys, are always in the state championship level and have been for years. My son doesn't play basketball, but because he's at the school, I take a very close interest in what they're doing there. And I had to speak to both the school and the Bullets about connecting with each other because I talked to the head of the sports program at the school and I'm like, are you connected with the Bullets? They're like, no. And I'm like, they've got a community program. They've got all these things going on. Why are you not speaking to them? And then I spoke to the Bullets and said, you need to talk to these people. And then I left it with them. But speaking to kids in the school who play basketball at every age, they think the Bullets are, I'll use the kids' term, their words, not mine. What a bunch of losers. We follow the NBA. They have no respect for the Brisbane Bullets. And so what Derek is saying in the small field that I've got, that is what is being said. The Bullets don't inspire these kids at all.
Yeah, I can confirm when I was coaching my under 14s team, I think I had one player on my team that knew who the Bullets were and actually went to a couple of games. None of the others watched any NBL, definitely not Brisbane basketball. And I know there were quite a few others within the club as well, where a lot of the kids didn't watch any Bullets games. They barely ever went to any. There might have been one or two. So, yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, back to Olgun. Olgun then said they need more Australian basketball knowledge and intel within that franchise. Surprise. They haven't had that for the last few seasons. For the last few seasons, they ranked towards the bottom of that list. They need to add that to their list. Olgun said Trevor Gleeson is someone who they have had a conversation with, but he is very expensive and they don't seem to be willing to pay for someone like Trevor.
Pay the man.
So let's just pause here for a moment while I take a deep breath. I do not want to skip past this. Trevor Gleeson is someone they have had a conversation with. A conversation was had with Trevor Gleeson. But he is very expensive and they don't seem to be willing to pay for someone like Trevor. And this has to be true because they have a contract on the table for a US coach, even if they've taken it off because of the uproar that the fans have made. Okay, so they had a conversation with Trevor Gleeson and decided he costs too much, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah.
Derek then asked Olgun, do you think this is a highly sought after job with a club in its current state? Olgun answered, not necessarily. Brisbane is a big city. The history of the franchise, you have a facility. Those are really important things. But I don't know if anyone looks at the infrastructure of the Brisbane Bullets right now and says, hey, that's something I want to go into. That's somewhere I can grow and have a lot of success. I'm not sure head coaches around the world necessarily see the Bullets as that right now.
Like the guys at the round table, Matt McQuaid and Julian Marcus, they've said again and again, Brisbane's the third biggest market in the country. It's something Olgun has said a while back, that they seem like a club that was being run as if it's a small market club. That was a while ago, though. Different management, but still.
Same ownership, though? Same owners, different management, or was it different owners?
It's a few years ago. So I think
been,
Levin was in the picture at the time.
Yeah.
He's been in since...
He's been around for a few years.
Yeah, 6 or 7 years now.
But he didn't have full control for for a good chunk of those. Larry still had.
Yeah.
Could we say that we did better when Larry had that chunk, though? All right, we had another game. On Thursday night, we had another game. Perth versus the Brisbane Bullets. Brisbane 75, Perth 95. Attendance 3,984 people.
So I don't know if it's just me, but there certainly did not appear to be that many people there. I want to know how they're working out these numbers, because this isn't the first time where the attendance numbers don't reflect what it looked like in the stadium. Are they taking it from ticket sales, including membership numbers, or are they actually taking it at the turnstiles?
Yeah, it's a good question. Mort and I were chatting. He came up and had a chat, and we guessed the numbers. So I actually guessed around 4,000, and I said maybe 4.5 because I couldn't see up behind me. So I think that it was about right. But we sit on opposite sides of the stadium, Cam. And so you're looking at my side of the stadium and I'm looking at your side of the stadium. So I don't know if there were less on and over sitting above me than there were around you. But yeah.
I'll also factor in that I'm pretty much not seeing the best at the moment. So maybe it was just my vision. I got a little magnifying device that's been supplied to me that I actually used to watch most of the game with. So
How did you see this game? Yep. How'd you see the game?
So yeah, it wasn't a bad start. We were down that first quarter, but we steadied the ship in the second, and I thought we were looking like they had found their groove, and we headed into the half with the lead.
Yeah. In that first half, I kept thinking that Perth were actually playing better than us. But then I look up the score and I was like, oh, God, we're there. Oh, well, we're right there. We're in the game. I felt like we had a formula in the first half, and it ran through our central focus of Tyrell. And then when he and Nordo went down, I really didn't know how we were going to make it up. I was like, not both of them, please.
Yeah. Yeah. We came out in that second half and we looked like a completely different team, or we looked like the team that we've been for most of the season. That third quarter just absolutely killed us. That was the game right there. It was, I think, 21 unanswered points. I saw a lot of players turning down looks. They looked very hesitant to put shots up, which became really frustrating to watch. I know.
Yeah.
I had a couple people around me that were just like, shoot it, because I'm not yelling at the moment. So I was not yelling that out.
Nice. I actually felt like they went back to the dribble down one shot offense again. So maybe it was a few players were giving up and not shooting, and others were just going, somebody's got to do it, so I'll just take it. Yeah, because I felt like I was yelling, going, oh my God, we're doing the dribble down, and somebody just jacked something up again. It wasn't hero ball as much, more what do we do now that Ty is off? Our action man Holt, he's great, but he isn't Ty. And the collapsing defense on him just narrowed our options way too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And our rebounding was atrocious as well. What was that, 35 to 47? We gave up 17 O boards. So yes, losing Ty hurt us in that department, but that just means that the others need to step up. No one was boxing out and getting on a body. I think the biggest telling one of that was, and I'm not too sure who actually shot the free throw, but it was one of the Perth. I think it maybe would have been JLA free throw, and they got the rebound on his missed free throw right away. No one moved in to box out. You could tell no one got a body on them. And then for free throws, that's just horrible.
It's unacceptable. Injuries to Ty and JFL, that's a concern, but Ty played 8 minutes when that collision occurred. It's hypothetical, but I'd like to think that if we didn't lose him when we did, I'd like to think we'd at least have been within striking distance in the fourth quarter, but it wasn't to be. It's just the curse that people talk about.
At the start of the season, everyone called out Bullets for having no depth, and they were all right.
The roster's
starting five. Yeah.
lacking, like you say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think someone mentioned that JFL's leg was strapped, and that would explain the lack of minutes in the second half and why he's a good chance of not playing against Adelaide.
Yeah. Yeah, Ty was a big loss. I thought Holt did his best, but he's not up to the standard of the other starting bigs in the league yet, especially defensively. And he's still learning the league and his role. But I also think fitness-wise, he's still not quite there. In saying that, you can't fault the guy's energy and ethic on the court. He just
brings the hustle.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I think he fits as a four-man and as a sometimes backup five. He is honestly not a five-man for this league, in my opinion. He just can't match it with them. We can't rely on another undersized man to hold down the position and actually challenge other teams. I'm so tired of them bringing in undersized people to fill a role, thinking that they'll just play bigger than they are. Why can't we just get someone also who's big enough to play the role as well, because it will make the difference. I love Action Man, but the more I watch him, the more he shows me he's perfect for the four, not the five. So the more I see him, the more I'm like, you're a four-man. You're the perfect four-man.
The one player who's the exception to playing bigger than they are, like who does play bigger than he is Zolan Cheatham. Like he is the exception. But with Holt, he's 6'9".
A superior athlete. That's where we go back to athlete. He runs rings around everyone in the league.
He's the exception. Like he's 6'5", but plays he's 6'6", 6'7".
Oh, God. I would have said 6'8", 6'9".
He's 6'8".
That makes more, yeah.
He's actually listed as 6'8".
I saw 6'5" somewhere. Are you sure 6'8"'s not his wingspan?
No, 6'8", because I had mentioned this on a Facebook group somewhere, and they're like, no, he's 6'8", and so I had to go and actually do a bit of a look up. There are there's one site that lists him as 6'5", but every other site that I found was 6'8". So
yeah, that makes more sense. It was I was like, there's no way that guy's 6'5". Yeah.
Back to Holt, yeah. So he's 6'9", and at that height, he's in that little sort of range where he's the height that people would consider a 4 or a backup 5. And we had that, like, Bannon is 6'10", 6'11", and he's tall enough to be a centre, but his playing style, Bannon played juniors as a centre, but he's used as a 4 and spot minutes as a backup 5. And we lost that. We got Holt. Most clubs in the league have a preference for at the 5 is someone who's at least approaching 7 foot, or is either a 7-footer or somewhere around 6'10", 6'11". They don't grow on trees, and if you have one of those,
they kind of
do.
Backup? There's a lot of them around. I look at Sydney, and they have one guy go down, and they bring in just somebody just as good. They've got Bogut. He's going to find him.
Yeah, but who's your backup?
Yeah, so
we don't have them, and I've seen it since the start. We're not big enough.
Yeah, so I will say that the Bullets and the NBL sites both list Holt as 6'10", and that's what I thought he was coming in as a 6'10".
Which it's like Tracy said, he's a 4 who can be a backup 5. He's still like he.
Yeah, your backups are Yeah, I just think looking at the players that we've had in the 4, love Casey Prather for his offensive output, but we're defensively the lowest in the league. So something has to change there. You can't keep putting Casey in the 4 and expect us to be a top defensive team in the league.
Not defensively, offensively.
No.
That's what I mean. Offensively, he has an output there, but you have to have both ends of the floor.
Yeah.
We're defensively the lowest team in the league consistently. And so we have to look at that. Move Casey to the 3 and put Holty in there at the 4. Put Tyrell at the 5 and now get 2 backups in that area.
Yeah.
Yeah, the big man game is coming back and we are not keeping up with it, I don't believe. But when we don't have the depth. So let's look at the stats for this game in the quarters, quarter by quarter. In the first quarter, we scored 16, they scored 25. Second quarter, we scored 28, they scored 15. So that was a big quarter.
Yeah.
Third quarter, we scored 11. They scored 31. And in the fourth quarter, we scored 20 and they scored 24. So
good quarter.
We were one really bad quarter and one good quarter and 2 okay quarters. But again, fourth quarter, junk minutes. We won 2 quarters really, and that third quarter just absolutely killed us. We made 28 shots from 66 attempts at 42%. Perth made 36 shots from 76 attempts at 44%. From the 3-point line, we made 7 from 24 attempts. Perth made 8 from 23 attempps. So on the 3-point line, we were right there with them, but they just had, they only had 7 more shots than us. It still doesn't really translate to 25-point smashing.
No.
Other than accuracy or lack thereof.
That's right. And so this is the big one, the really big one that has to be talked about a lot. Perth had 5 players in double figures and we had 1. Tyrell would have been double figures if he was there, but it was Action Man Holt who came in and took over that scoring. Damien, our group, sent us from the Code Sports article, and I was also tagged by Brisbane Sports over on Instagram. It was the first time in Bullets history that none of the starting 5 players scored double-figure points in a game. Brisbane has played 1,154 games in the NBL over 40 seasons. And it is the first time in history that none of the starting 5 players scored double-figure points in a game.
Yeah, it's just...
My coffee's not strong enough to hear those numbers.
Insert swearing here.
Yeah.
FFS is what I want to say.
Or do I need a stiff drink to just digest that?
So bad. So bad. We had 16 turnovers and they had 11. Their biggest scoring run was 21 points. Ours was 7. Our non-existent transition defense shows itself in these stats. It's not that it's bad. It's that it doesn't exist, in my opinion. Perth's starting 5 were all in the plus, the lowest being plus 15. All of our starting 5, or all of our team, our entire team were in the minus, except once again Tristan Devers, who was a plus 4. He was a little bit of a shining light in this match. I know Action Man Holty got all the accolades, and rightly, because offensively he did a bit. But let's look at Devers, 20 minutes. He had 9 points. He shot 57% from the field. So other than Tyrell, he was the highest percentage scorer. Missed both of his 3-point attempts. Who cares? He just didn't take enough. He ranked 4th in efficiency. So he just had a real impact on the game. So a big shout out to him.
Yeah, I'm so glad we've got him contracted for next season. And it'll be a full roster spot. So it's no longer a DP.
Just on those shooting attempts, Trace, you said 2 3-point attempts. Do you reckon, he needs whatever minutes he's playing, he needs to have enough minutes to be able to get 4 3-point attempts?
Yeah. I would have liked, he had 2 attempts. I would have liked him to have 4 or 6 in there. Yeah. And if he's running the point in there, he needs to set himself up to be able to do that as well. That's where our floor generals are missing. Yeah. But once again, in this game, our imports fell short. JFL, 7 points, 4 rebounds, 1 assist, 2 turnovers in his 20 minutes before going off injured with that hamstring again. Terry the Toolman Taylor had 8 points, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, 3 turnovers. That is no Casey Prather replacement. I really wanted more from Sam McDaniel. I know how talented he is, and so I would love to see him get more focus on that offensive end. But I think I was writing that forgetting about the plantar fasciitis as well.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I had notes for him to be more aggressive and so forth, but yeah, forgetting that plantar fasciitis, just getting him some of those mid-range shots. And I know that the mid-range shot seems to be a out of fashion thing these days, but when you're struggling from 3-point land and you're struggling in the paint, a couple of mid-range shots, especially from someone who is very good at it, it's just so underutilized these days.
It has come
I
back a
agree.
bit. It's
Yeah,
come
Josh
back.
Bannon's brought it back too, hasn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
Yep.
reassured that it's not, totally absent.
Yep. Yep. Another truly obvious thing that I've seen from all our games this season is the opposition's ability to collapse in their key defensively when Tyrell or our big man get the ball in there. So they collapse and double him. But then they do something so beautiful and so frustrating to watch, which is they cut off the pass to the 3-point line as well. So they absolutely put him under so much pressure down there. And our other players are just standing on the 3-point line hoping to get some action. Are not actually moving. Nobody's actually helping in there.
Yeah, we've spoken about it before with Ty in the low post and how he drops that ball down. That makes it so much easier for the defense to double in and collapse in on him. And they usually wind up knocking the ball out of his hands. Our guards need to learn to get the ball to him up high, and he needs to learn to keep it up high. And then there's more chance of him actually getting fouled in that situation. And that just means that'll ease that pressure up as the game goes on.
Yep. Mort actually said he spoke to Peter Crawford because Ty played for PC in NBL 1. And he said, mate, you need to start throwing medicine balls to him and getting him catching it up high. So he's building this strength up here. But you're absolutely right. Our guards are not putting him in a position to shine. They're really not. And it's really frustrating that they should know that's a weakness and they're playing to his weakness instead of to his strength. And it's so frustrating. I haven't seen it happen at all with the Bullets. Our defense still leaves so much to be desired. And their big men get the ball and we stand around defensively hoping Ty will get a block. I watched the defensive teams, the opposition, collapse so well defensively. And then I'm like, see, Bullets, that's how it's done. And then down the end when the opposition has got the ball, we're not collapsing. And it's because, Ty will get it. Don't worry about it. Our defense is so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to take a moment as well to talk about the refereeing. It's no excuse. It in no way played any part in the loss. We were still horrible regardless of it. But the reffing, and it's not just been this game, it's been a while now that the reffing has been horrible. It is across the league, but it looks like it's getting worse for the Bullets. There's a certain head ref who clearly has an issue with the Bullets. I'm not going to name him. We probably know who
Vaughan
he
Mabry.
We can name him. Yes, good old Video Vaughan. He's been a thorn in our side for a few years, and I can tell you now, it's not just fans that notice it. There are staff within the Bullets who have noticed it for years. I've had a few of them over the seasons mention his name as being an issue. All I ask for is consistency within the games. Call the same things both ends. Perth holding and grabbing anywhere and everywhere and getting called for very little. And then down the other end, Bullets players would barely look at a Perth player the wrong way and bang, there's a call. So yeah, I needed to call it out.
Yeah, I think it's a case of misery loves company. I really do. It's just like we're so terrible and the refs just match our terribleness. We play better, and when we get the crowd involved, we play better, we get the crowd involved, and we get some calls. I actually see a difference when that happens. I'm not a lover in the refs, especially Vaughan Mabry. I shouldn't know their names. Somebody popped a reel into our Bullets Nation group chat, and it was of the refs, not in Australia, I think it was in America, they were doing this reel on how they do a block call, and they were having, oh, this is how you put your feet and this is how you do it. And I've tried it this way and I've tried
Like
it that
this.
way. And it needs to look like this. And I was just like, oh my God, you want to be seen. You want the way that you are reffing and the exact way you do that to be a show within itself. And he was talking about how this reel goes viral when he did that. And you show us how you did it because your reel went viral. This shows that the referees at a standard across the world are more worried about how they look instead of letting the game be the champion, which has been a problem for such a long time. So get into those coaching of referees from the junior level and please tell them that they are here to allow the game to be the champion, and nobody knowing your name is a really good thing. The best thing you can do is that nobody knows you and they can just go, great game, and they don't talk about you at all. That is an excellent referee.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so frustrating. But having said that, misery loves company. I think we're just crap. And I do want consistency as well, but I honestly think it is the least of the problems that the Bullets have is the reffing.
Yeah,
I
agree.
think the refs could be 100% in our favour and we'd still lose by 25 points.
True. Yes, yeah, it's definitely the least of our problems. I'd like to see fans give it to them a bit more. You listen to other crowds at other teams, and they absolutely give it to the refs. I had my niece sitting to me at that last game, and she tried to start getting that "I'm blind, I'm deaf, I want to be a ref" chant going.
Oh my goodness.
Said we used to throw it at them all the time back in the day.
Yeah, that's an oldie, but
It is. So yeah, she was trying to get that. It's been a while since she's been to a game, so she thought she'd throw it out there.
And it didn't work. God damn it. And the way to get people involved is to show replays.
Yeah.
Got to get the replays up on the Jumbotron, and there's no reason why we can't. I've absolutely heard there is everything that you see on TV is what is available in the game, and they've got enough screens to be able to do it. So they've got the inside of the Jumbotron, the outside of the Jumbotron, and the two stat screens on the side. And so I really hope that that can change. It shocks me that nobody's talking about it. So the season is not over. We have more games coming up. Tomorrow, we're recording on a Saturday because we had the game tomorrow, and I think we'd be able to handle 3 games in a podcast episode.
Stop press, Tracy. I just
Yeah.
checked our main Bulls Nation chat. Mitchell has shared Maldonado good to go tomorrow.
Oh, thank God for that. Thank you.
I'll believe it when I see it. Sorry, Mitchell, but yes, I'll believe it when I see it. But thanks for sharing, Mitchell.
Yeah. Whew, thanks, Scott, for keeping an eye on that. Tomorrow we play Adelaide at home. I don't know that Maldonado is going to be the difference. Or the Armoury. We play tomorrow at home at the BEC or the Armoury. I was told
Depending on who you
that,
ask.
yeah, I did hear that the name Nissan Arena, they complained when we used to use the Armoury over at Nissan Arena. Nissan Arena complained to the Bullets and said, you may not use that because we have a naming sponsor for the stadium and you're now not recognising the naming sponsor for the stadium. I'm not sure why they didn't take it when moving to the BEC, Brisbane Entertainment Centre. Surely you can change that to the Armoury. There's no naming sponsor on that stadium.
Yeah,
Because wouldn't they both be managed by Stadiums Queensland?
I don't think it's about management. It's just about naming rights.
Yeah.
Who'd want to name Burndall anyway?
And there's no naming sponsor for BEC.
No, I say let's go back to calling it the Armoury.
Yeah. So we will be at the Armoury tomorrow. Without knowing our team and if Tyrell and JFL are in or out, I'll say Adelaide by 20, and I'm being very generous.
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough, even with Ty and JFL and Maldonado in. I've got Adelaide by 25, but I'll still be there cheering them on until the very end.
Yeah, same.
Yeah,
same.
Hard to see anything different to that.
Yeah, I'm just looking at Bullets. They have confirmed that Maldonado will play. I'm just seeing if they're doing, no, they haven't put anything else in regards to ins and outs. But I can't imagine. So we've got a hamstring from JFL. I can't imagine that just can be taped up and run out. And Ty is going to be on concussion watch, and that's got to be at least you've got at least a week for that these days, if not more. So we're going to be without them for sure.
That's best case for Ty.
Yeah.
Could be more. We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
And
being
if he did an
myself
ankle.
empty again.
Yeah, it looked
Yeah.
like he hurt his knee or something like that in that head clash as well.
Yeah, somebody said ankle. So ankle or knee. I
Yeah, I
hope
heard
it's
an ankle
ankle
mentioned.
rather than knee. Yeah.
Yeah, me
Ankles
too.
are a little bit easier to deal with. Yeah. Yeah, great. We then have a few weeks of away games. So we've actually been a little bit spoiled. We've had lots of home games. So whilst the Bullets have played a lot of games in that 15-day period, a lot of them were home games. But now they're going to go on the road for a while. But there's no 48-hour turnarounds and things like that. So I'm actually expecting to see a little bit of a lift in that.
Yeah.
We play on Sunday and we play next Saturday. So there's a whole week in between there for some bodies to get a bit of rest and a bit of training and fitness maybe. Cairns next Saturday. I'm not sure I can predict this one without knowing who we're going to have available. It's so hard to do. Again, without Tyrell and JFL, I've got Cairns for the win. But if we can field a decent team and Smack can contain McVeigh, then maybe we can get close in this one. I'll put my prediction in the group chat, in the Bullets Nation group chat for the day of the game for this one.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm hoping DMAC can now spend a few days in putting together a few things with the team in training sessions, because they've not really had that with this run of games. I'm still probably going to go with Cairns in Cairns. McVeigh is a concern, and I think Smack will do okay with him. He's still fitness-wise not quite where he needs to be. So I think McVeigh will still manage to put up that 20 to 30 points. If we can limit him to 20, I think we go a good way in beating them, because I don't think they've got others who can really score consistently. So I'm going to go with Cairns by 5.
I think if Cairns can take a game off anyone, it's us. And they have Sam Wardenberg back now, and we haven't played them since Wardenberg came back.
True. I forgot he was back.
Yep, their bigs are bigger. They've got a couple of athletes in there. I just don't see us. I don't see there's a team that we can legitimately beat yet, unless they're a little bit down and out. And Cairns are a little bit down and out, but yeah, they've got McVeigh is back and Wardenberg's back. He's another one, like a little Kiwi team. I like Wardenberg, is he a Kiwi? And I'd like Meninga and Ty. I'm not giving Ty up for either of them. All right, we're into yeah, nah territory. Scott, you had a yeah, nah question today?
On the roster, somebody mentioned like who's contracted, and some of those would be options. So I don't know what the options are. I'd say they're mutuals. So that includes Nordo, Ty, Smack, etc. But the ones who I understand are not contracted is Tohi, Dukas, and Jack Purchase. So my question is, will any of those three be offered contracts for NBL 27?
No.
Nah, I'm going with nah.
I think it's a bit unfair on Jack that he hasn't even really had a chance to show what he's capable of, but it seems less likely, unfortunately.
Yeah. And
because of what we need.
Yeah, and with Jack, I think he loses out because you've got Divas coming in to a full roster spot.
Also, there's a chance that Lamar might get naturalised and be offered a spot.
Yeah, nah. Bullets' heavy loss to the Wildcats showed deeper problems than just fatigue.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Started with an easy one. Just wanted to ease you into it.
Yeah, that's a loosener upper.
Yeah. Got a couple of those. Loosen into it a little bit. Yeah,
as you've said before, Tracy, it's more a statement than a question.
That's right. Yeah, nah. Interim coach Darryl McDonald is on thin ice after his run of recent results.
Not the current season.
A little bit harder.
No, not for this season.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely.
See, so this is where it gets really interesting, because he's not. Isn't that interesting? That if Stu Lash was still here, he'd be on very thin ice. But we need to look at who put the team together, not DMAC.
Yeah.
Who ran the preseason? Not DMAC. Who's run most of the season? Not DMAC. And he's pointed out the holes in all of it. So the changes that he would make would be massive. So even though we are still getting belted, what the media are saying now is this isn't a DMAC problem. This is a roster problem now.
Yeah.
And it's a
They
straight.
should at least interview him for NBL 27, but whether he's the most suitable, that's a whole other discussion. And there's other
Totally.
candidates that
I
are
want
clearly
him in
more
on the
suited.
conversation because he wants the job and he's got the fight that the Bullets need right now, and he will take the longevity.
He's got a good
and I
enough
want him to have a
CV that he
hand
should
in
be
it.
interviewed.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, now the new import signing, Hunter Maldonado, will be a genuine difference maker this season.
Yes, in the sense of a loss might be 15 instead of 20.
Yeah, in that he's going to at least help us get the ball up a lot easier. I think he's going to help in that area and resulting in not as big a loss.
Yeah.
Fingers
I mean,
crossed.
for that too. And I'm not sure how. Yeah. More that we're just having another floor general. I wonder what that's going to bring.
Yeah.
So I can't say
Certainly
exactly
some
what it's
more
going to be.
structure in the offense, which would be great. It's very welcome to have that for sure.
Yeah, takes the ball out of JFL's hand and frees him up to be the player that he should be.
He's a better athlete than a lot of our current roster. He's had a nice little rest now. His body's had a nice little rest. So it's, I'm hoping he will actually make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, nah, Brisbane's injury crisis is the main reason they're struggling, not coaching or strategy.
No.
Nah, clear cut. Yeah, nah. Culture issues are the bigger problem for Brisbane, not just wins and losses.
Yeah.
I want to clarify, yes, but I also use the word management.
Yeah, culture starts at the top.
Yeah.
Yeah, our club culture. Okay, let's do this right now. We graded our team previously on their effort this season. Where do you grade our front office?
It couldn't be more than like a D.
Yeah, I was D.
I'm giving them a D minus, maybe an E. I just think it's the structure in there is nowhere close to good enough. Yeah, nah, the Bullets mid-season signing strategy has been spot on.
Nah.
Cut them a little bit of slack because mid-season availability is definitely something you have to like.
But it actually
with.
works better in some ways because it just lines up with, what is it, G League or something? It actually lines up better.
I don't know if is there a free agency or a trade period in G League? I don't know if there is. It wouldn't surprise me if there was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know either. I just remember that it was a certain time where it's like, this is a time to be getting people.
I actually think we waited a touch too long.
Yep. We waited too long to do a lot of things, and that was the last
I think we held on to Adams too long.
Yep, agreed. Yeah, no, the fans still have confidence in Darryl McDonald's vision.
Some do. I have confidence in his vision for the rest of NBL 26, but beyond that's a whole other conversation.
Yes, I agree. Yeah, for the remainder of this season, I think we've got confidence in him. Moving forward, it's 50-50.
Yeah. Yeah, so much needs to play out. But again,
he needs time.
Without a front office, it's just so much more needs to happen. And the fact that he's not in the conversation is just horrendous. It really is. It's so disappointing. Yeah, no, at this point, fans deserve loyalty points for turning up and staying till the final buzzer.
It's got to be worth something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everyone left with 5 minutes to go at the last game. I didn't.
Yeah, no, there were definitely a lot leaving early.
Yeah.
But no, I've never
You're
done
on a
it.
league of your own in loyalty, Trace.
Yeah, I've never done it and I won't do it. It'll be
You too can.
I only did it. I did it once on a school night because it was finishing at 9 o'clock and I had my son with me and I was like, oh, we're going because we need to get home. Yeah, nah. If effort alone won games, the Bullets would be undefeated.
Are you kidding? If we're talking about the whole season.
So that's a nah.
They're actually spoon contenders on effort alone.
Yeah, nah. Are we one more rough quarter away from fans bringing sage to the entertainment centre?
It's close.
It'll fit in an A4 bag or sage sticks, wave them around.
Yeah.
There we have it. Another episode of Bullets Nation podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, gentlemen.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy. Thanks, Cam.
Fun to be back. Thank you, everyone, for watching. We have such a passionate supporter base, which is excellent because that's what we are as well. Keeping in touch with us on socials, on YouTube, on all the things. Join our Bullets Nation group chat. You can email us, bulletsnationpodcast@gmail.com, and we'll hook you up into that group if you want to talk all things bullets all the time. And sometimes other little things happen in there as well. Take care. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you on the next episode of Bullets Nation.